Hey everybody, welcome back. So today I'm working on an auto farm. Originally I had set this up, I think it was maybe the second week after we had seen the castle carpentry furniture. There's some very simple elements at play here, just the conveyor belt. We have the switches down here, the spiked floors, which is actually a new addition, and the respawner to go with the spiked floor. So essentially, when I'd first set this up, I'd use these conveyor belts. There's kind of two main functions for conveyor belts. One is going to be to propel the bombs that you're using and put them in the right location in the field, and the other is going to be to move your player. So in this particular build, I'm going to be using the spike floor to move the player around because I found that to be more efficient, and it also avoids running into that nasty hornet. So the idea is basically there's two different ways that you can set up these conveyor belts. One is just the always on, like this kind of beige colored always on look. This one will run forever. Basically, they just keep running all the time. And we're going to set up a bunch of those right in the middle here. So you can see that I've tried to find, that's almost the middle. Let's put it right smack dab in the middle. So basically I'm going to keep these in the middle, and when we're positioning our bombs, it's going to go on one side or the other of this. Okay, so I'm going to budge this one over a little bit, try and get it nice and symmetrical. And I think this is where it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to incorporate the spiked floor, but I will do my best here to make it work. So my original design for this just had conveyor belts and switches. I have purchased exactly 30 conveyor belts. So when I started out, I bought, I think it was like the second or third day, like I said, that the stuff that we'd seen at the carpentry store had popped out. And I bought 30 conveyor belts, haven't bought another one since. That's been enough for me. I also originally had bought one switch, which I then bought a second switch, and then I broke down a while ago and bought two more, just for purposes of building events and mini games and stuff like that. All the interactive furniture is really useful. Okay, so I'm setting up a line here. I got three on either side. The idea is I'm going to make a big H shape, more or less. Basically, I want to hit as much at the top and as much at the bottom as I can on both sides. It's pretty straightforward. And this is kind of the beauty of it, is it's really quite simple. But what we wind up with, I mean, if I go and switch over my bombs here, what we'll wind up with in a bomb blast, like especially if you have bomb skins, I mean, probably 90% of the players have bomb skins these days. If I chuck a bomb on that, it's going to get carried along. When it gets placed at the end, it's going to have a big cross shape, like it's going to have a vertical and a horizontal line. And then in addition to that vertical horizontal line, you're also going to run into an additional smaller blast. So that's going to be randomized. Essentially, you have a high impact middle range and then a lower impact smaller range in some area in that vicinity, right? So thinking of that, basically we're going to have on both sides two different main blast locations. I think up here, what I want to do is try and aim for this area up here. Try and drop my bomb right here, and then down on this side, when I come down to the bottom, I'm going to go over to the right a little bit so that my vertical lines don't cross over. So it's not going to be a perfect H, but it is going to kind of look a little bit like an H. So I'm going to put one, let's go for one, two more. I'll go for two more. And on this one, here, I'm going to make it vertical, so I'm going to rotate it up so that the arrow is pointing up on there. I'm going to change the color on this. I'm going to say it should be red. Oh, yeah, let's make it red. I'm also going to up the speed. All of these actually technically should have upped the speed. If you pop the speed up to the fullest, then it works a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. But you can tweak it as well. So If it's something where you're running into, you know, oh, maybe the bomb doesn't blow up in exactly the right place, you can kind of play with it a little bit and direct it so that it goes in the right location that you want it to blow up by changing the speed. Okay, so the other one I'm going to do is blue, and the blue one's going to face down on this side. And when I've placed that, it's going to go in the same location as this red one. So what does this mean? Basically, oh, I think that Tanuki is going to help me demonstrate this. So if I have this these switches set as red, and I throw the Tanuki on this little thing here, the Tanuki is basically going to go up at the end here. He's going to go zipping across, and he's going to go up. Now, if I wander down here and I hit this switch and it turns to blue, instead what's going to happen is if I put the little Tanuki on the conveyor belt, he's going to go down at the end, right? So it follows the direction of the active conveyor belt, depending on which direction that is. Okay, thank you, Tanuki. So another thing to consider is that I want to position these explosives in such a way that it hits a cross section, but it's going to hit a cross section that's going to be both in between two grass or bush tiles on both the horizontal and the vertical. That way what will happen is I'll get more, you know, bang for my buck, so to say. So I'll hit this back. I'm going to throw it to red again. This switch is going to be red color, and what that's going to mean is when I drop my bomb in here, it's going to pull that little carrot all the way up to the top, and boom, there we go. Explode the top section. So that was pretty good. I'm going to try one more just to get a feel for where I'm exploding there, and I think I might want to, no, I think that's good. That's good. That's perfect where it was. So the next one I have to do, I have to consider that blast so I can see that these cells here, these tiles have been exploded. So I'm going to look at that as well. I'm going to set this down so it's basically facing, because this blue tile is going to come here, it's going to point down in this direction. I'm going to take a few more of these guys here. And I'm just estimating doing this really quick. But you could probably get really in depth about exactly the location and what's optimized for your different layout or whatever if you're doing something specific. I really like this layout because we can throw 4 bombs at a time when we're doing it, and that's going to allow the grass to grow back pretty quickly. That we can get additional bombs in for cheap. So the other thing that I'm going to do right here is I'm going to incorporate a switch. So the switch, I can hit it with my sword and blow it up, but I can also hit it with a bomb, as you'll see here. When that bomb explodes, that switch is also going to switch over, and what that means is all I have to do is drop another bomb, and that switch is not going to blow up this time because it's down there, but it will hit that other grass section, right? So the idea is we have one side done. When we do this on one side, I can stand in one location and drop bombs. I can drop 2 bombs. It will switch, you know, halfway through. Technically, I suppose I could probably throw this down here, and this would function pretty well, right? I can add my little switch down below here as well, and I'll be able to drop 1 bomb, and it will go down to the bottom. And then when that blows up, then I can throw one up to the top, and it will do the same thing up at the top, hopefully, if it gets there in time. The lag sometimes messes with it. And I can just kind of go along 1, 1, 1, 1 like this, right? And that's not bad. I mean, the grass is mostly growing back. I still have to wait for the bomb every single time to go all the way down that little track, and it's you know, decent. It's effective. I just have to tap the button every now and then, and it works pretty well. You know, that's okay. But the next part is once we've done the same thing on the other side. So I have, let's count over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 tiles on the left-hand side. That means I have another 20 tiles left. I've got another 3 on this side. Oh, I loaded, no problem. Okay, so here comes the other side. I'm going to basically do the same thing. Try and maximize my explosion radius coverage. Throw a couple more of these guys in here just because I have the spare. Tap it around. And then I'm going to throw my valve on there. I mean, that's basically what this is. We're kind of setting up a direction that the bombs are going to flow. And on this side, it's important when you do one side one way, you have to do the other side the opposite. So on this side here, what I want to do is I want to have my top one be the blue. It's going to go here. Oh, hopefully that's the same one. It's coming off of the pile first. Yeah, okay, so we got the blue one there, and then I'm going to take this one and make it red and pointing down on this side. Okay. And what this is going to do is going to allow me to alternate. So instead of hopping back and forth on here and looking at the different locations and trying to get my player located correctly to drop these bombs, instead what I'm doing is I'm setting up a scenario where all I have to do is drop it on one side of this line, and it will automatically go to a pre-designated spot, and the color of this arrow will allow it to get funneled into the right location without even having to click another button. You just have to basically drop bombs the entire time. That's all you have to do. And it's really, really efficient when you have 4 locations like this. Like setting up one on one side is decent. It will blow up this area, then it will blow up this area. But when you set up 2 like this, what will happen is you can basically just kind of spam bombs. You just kind of have to push it with rhythm, and it will drop as many as you like. Yeah. So this top corner here is a little bit sparse. You can see that there's less grass up here. I'm going to make sure that I get the most of it I can, and on the bottom one I'm going to try and bring it down and try and get this section over here. I don't want to miss these bushes though, so I think what I'm going to do, and this really was, I mean, when I built this the first time it was like a little H in the middle here, but I think I've kind of outdone myself on this one. It's a lot more advanced. And I mean, that's probably related to some extent for the experience of building and messing around with the different furniture objects and the different ways that the conveyors work and stuff like that. But I think the addition of the spiked floor is going to be really good. Okay, so this one here, I'm actually going to do one more thing, which is to shift it up one location. Oh, if it lets me. And I'm going to take this one and I'm going to overlap it just by half here. And to do that, like what I'm doing here is I'm just getting it to direct into the middle of the horizontal line. That way that the coverage of that cross shape is twice as much basically. Okay, so that's the perfect location there. I need to hit one of those switches, and then I can throw a bomb on the right hand side and it should blow up that bush up there. There we go. Kaboom. Perfect. Okay. So there is a little bit of waste. There was a little kind of like overlap at the top up there where the bomb could have been. I think that it's good for now. I'm pretty happy with that placement. Again, if you're really into this and you want to make it super, super efficient, you can probably optimize way better. You could probably even build one with 3 prongs on each side and really, really, direct your bombs really effectively. But I think this is pretty good for, a short video on it. Okay, so this one down here has the same issue, is that it's not like horizontally, it's just going to come into the square middle. If I let it do that, I mean, I guess I can kind of show you. What I'll do is I'll take the regular bomb so you can see the difference with just the single bomb trail. Basically what's going to happen is if I use the plain bomb, I'm just going to have only that cross. I don't get the additional blast. So this is like the newbie starter bomb. When you place it in there, this one's going to go up there, and it will, yeah, it's just got a straight line. If I hit that switch, when I hit the switch and bomb it, it's going to go downwards on that side, and it only hit the 1 row in the horizontal. It didn't actually hit a 2nd row. So what I'm going to do to alleviate that issue is position it with this one just 1/2 increment down from the top one and 1/2 increment to the right. And what that will do is it will now hit 4. So it's going to hit 2 vertical and 2 horizontal. Yeah, see, there's 2 and 2 up here too. Okay, so that's pretty much the tricks with the bombs. That's all we really need to do for this aspect of it. The next part is going to be cleverly using the spiked floor and the respawner. So for anybody who's done some farming in-house, they've probably encountered recently an annoying hornet. Basically, it was like an anti-farm bot effect. I don't know. They chose to add a hornet that was going to come after you. So my trick with this is basically that I want to set up one crystal per side on the same either top or bottom. The reason that this works is we're going to basically throw our character back and forth with the spiked fences, or the spiked floor. And to make that effective, you need to be able to switch those switches. So if I'm on the left-hand side and I drop a bomb, that's going to take 3 seconds or whatever to drop. If I flip over to the other side quickly in that time and drop a bomb, it's going to get down to the bottom instead of the top, right? So if I drop one on, let's say I'm going to go like this, I'll drop one on this side, then I'm going to run over here, and botch it and drop it on this side. Yeah, I was too slow. This is why the spike floor is going to come in handy. I used to use conveyors again, and the conveyor works pretty well, but I think that this is probably a little bit more effective. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a shot with the conveyor for now, because it was really effective in positioning. No, let's go the spiked floor way. I'm interested in seeing how it works out anyway. Okay, so the idea here is that I want to position the spiked floor in such a way where my player is going to be facing the conveyor and get pushed across the conveyor. The idea being that when you stand on a spiked floor, it will damage you and it will throw you around. So effectively, I want this to be as often as it possibly can be, which means reducing frequency to the very smallest amount, and it should just go chop, chop, chop. Oh. Yeah, see, this one's way faster than the base set now. And I'm going to position a couple of these carefully. And another point to think about here is when you're positioning your spike fences, they're going to, pretty much every single time that you jump on this thing, it's going to send you in a specific direction. You can kind of fiddle with it and come up to what the understanding of that is. If you approach this way, like the springboard, if you approach the springboard from the right-hand side, it will throw you to the right-hand side. That's not the same with the left-hand side. It will change. So if I jump from the left-hand side, it's probably still going to throw me right. Oh no, it threw me left. Way to prove me wrong, game. Okay, so if I jump from the right-hand side, then maybe it's going to shoot me right. There we go. If I come directly vertical, like if I'm perfectly vertical, I line up on the edge of this tree here. That's a rounded edge tree, I understand, but if I jump from the top, it'll shoot me to the right. There's a requirement for it depending on your base location. You might be a couple pixels off left or right. If it's 0, it goes to the right. So like if you're perfectly aligned on that square down there, if your player is exactly aligned in the right location, it will shoot you to the right every single time. So I don't know if they'll change this now that I'm, letting this secret out or what, but it is what it is. That's how it works. Okay, so basically I want to line this up in such a way where I can get thrown exactly 5 tiles to the right, or 5 half increments to the right. It's 2.5 tiles to the right. The way I want to run it is to keep this one over here and line them up across. So I'm going to try and do like this. This is my idea, is to have it to be 3 across and 3 across on the bottom. Because the player has a total of 6 hit points, that should kill the player and reset them back to the location where the respawner is. So the respawner is super expensive, but oh, it's so worth it, guys. I remember when I got it the first time, they had dropped this in store, and the day later, I built a thing in my house, and it got me black gralats in 3 days. It was just ridiculous. Like the number of players running in to check it out, they just it made so much money like immediately. Okay, so here I'm going to drop one. Oh, and it killed me right away, and I respawned, which is what I was hoping to have happen, I suppose. Okay, so I'm going to drop one, and it's going to hopefully shoot me to the left. Oh, no, to the right, rather. Yeah, no, I'm having a little bit of a hard time with this, getting it aligned and stuff. Okay. So I'm going to jump down, drop my bomb, get tossed over again, get tossed over, and then I'm hoping that when I get tossed over this time, the next thing that's going to come is I'm going to shoot myself down from that location. I'm going to jump down. Oh, and it's shooting me now, but I want to go a little bit further. And I'm going to bounce my player around again and come up the other side. So the idea is if I shoot him far enough down, he's probably going to land on the arrow vendor right now, but I'll move that. So the arrow vendor, yeah, the arrow vendor and the bomb vendor are super helpful in this level because you're going to want, I mean, the arrow vendor not as much, but the bomb vendor you're going to want because if you're, you know, spamming bombs to make money, you probably want some on hand. Okay, so then from here, I mean, I can just line this up because I copied it. It's got the same settings on the object. So I'm going to click on the paintbrush. It's got distance. I'm going to reduce the distance greatly. So now what will happen is I'll jump from here. I'll get knocked over 3 times. I'm going to land on the springboard. I'm going to land on this other springboard down here, and it's going to bounce me back up to here. But that's not quite good enough. And I really need to be in the same location that I am now, so I need to adjust it a little further. I'm going to say 2 more units to the right. So 1 and 2. They go a full block, full 2 increments up. And there I am. Okay, so now the trick here is how do I get it to work? And it's not going to work the way that it's set up, and I wanted to show you this. Remember I said I was going to bounce myself back around to get up and facing in the right direction? This is why it's not going to work. Okay, so you guys see if I put the spike floor here, what's going to happen? It's going to shoot me to the right. So I'll start that again. I'll initiate the whole thing from the beginning. You guys can see the process and the end result. Okay, so if I come from the respawner here, I get basically if you respawn, it's going to align you perfectly in whatever location that you've signed it or assigned the respawner to. So I get shot over one more, get shot over one more again, and it's going to, oh, it didn't actually throw me. Okay, I need to use a conveyor maybe for that. So one of the things that happens sometimes is that the location of the springboard won't read. And if the location of the springboard doesn't read, you can sometimes trick that with the conveyor belt. I'm going to try the same thing again, but it's going to kill me by the time I get over there. But I want to see if it shoots me with the springboard. Nope, didn't. Okay, one more go. And for some reason my music's not playing. I don't know what's that. Oh, okay, I got it muted. Ha 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 ha. There we go. Okay, so one more. I'll pretend I'll drop a bomb. Just going to swing my sword for brevity. There we go. Look at that. So the springboard shoots me down, shoots me back up again, and I'm up at the top. But what's going to happen? It's going to shoot me to the right. Okay, so the way to resolve this is that you have to be traveling from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So similarly to what I have up at the top here, I'm going to turn this guy around. Use my springboard controls here. Oh, it's not. It gave me inventory instead. Tried to hotkey. Okay, so it's actually, I'm just going to take it one further. Like that. And see if that's good. Where is it landing? Yeah, I wanted it to be against this. I don't want it to be quite exactly the same as these guys here. And in fact, maybe I will actually reduce it a little bit. The idea being, if we reduce it, let's say 2, then what will happen is I'll wind up over here and I can drop two on this side, and then when I'm coming down from the other direction, it'll be 2 on this side. Oh, perfect. It's going to be great. Okay, so I got one more springboard. Actually, I have a dozen of these. They're so fun. There's so many cool things you can do with the springboard. Oh, like totally glitch out the game. Okay, so that one's gonna come to here. And needs to go up the same distance as before, so it needs to go, I think, up 2. I might be wrong. Am I wrong? Nope, perfect, okay. Cool, so now from that location, instead of jumping up, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna jump over left, then I'm gonna jump up, and then I'm gonna have my location for my spike. Okay, so standing here, this is getting a little complicated, guys, I apologize. If you really want to, you can just use the conveyors at the top and switch yourself back and forth using a blue and a red conveyor. This is kind of the advanced section, but it will save you a lot of trouble. If you run into that hornet, this is the thing that'll fix that. When you start using the spike floors to kill yourself, like your player gets, you know, dead, and they'll respawn on that over there. The hornet will disappear every time you respawn. So pretty handy, pretty good to know. Okay, so I'm just about done here, and then I can gussy it up, put a little extra stuff on there. Okay, so my frequencies are all to 0, and again, I could probably optimize this quite a bit, but this is basically the thing. Okay, so let's eliminate some of this other stuff here that you don't need to see. Oh, so we can just see exactly what's included here. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the rest of these. Got these guys too. Essentially, there's 2 main changes that I've done here from my original design on this. When I'd first made it, it was just like a straight H. There wasn't any little curves or turns or anything like that. And it was extremely effective, like so effective that I got worried that if I continued using it, like that it would dismantle. It would totally like nerf the entire conveyor belt system. And this was way back when it first came out, and it was really touchy, and the grelats were everywhere, and it just was insane. Like, it was such an advantage to have this stuff in your house. Now it's like mandatory. If you want to farm, you should be using this kind of stuff. If you're doing like horse farming or something, you're hurting your thumbs for no reason, basically. You know, at this point, it's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is push one button. You kind of have to keep clicking, and it will just farm your glats for you. Okay. And this is, I mean, you know, there are some other houses that might be better for specific things. For instance, I know that the castle layout was originally, when the castle layout was there, it was really good. They actually reduced the potency of that by reducing the number of bushes. I'd actually made a complaint about that. Sorry, anybody who was offended. But if you implement it correctly, you can get a lot more blast for your bomb with a 2-player mount in that level than this, right? This basically, what I'm looking at is 2 things. One is I want to be able to get grelats, obviously, and the second thing is I want to be able to drop my bombs as fast as I can. So in this scenario, I can drop, what, 6 bombs at a time in one go here. So I'll go through one time. 1. Okay, oh, it's a little slow. 2. It's gonna go to the next one. 3. Gonna bounce over to the other side here. Gonna go bounce over to the left. And then at this point, what's interesting is all the grass grows back, right? So when you have that little jumpy delay, 4, 5, 6. See? There we go. And knocks you back to the beginning. Okay. So that's my build. Works pretty good. Let me know if you guys come up with some additional, you know, advances or something on this kind of concept. Kind of integrating both the, you know, the strategy with, oh, I can probably get rid of this one. The strategy with the switches and the conveyor belts, but also the spiked floor, which I've been using previously. I will totally like, you know, put a little fence around this and make it look interesting and integrate this as though it were part of like a normal level or something. But this is bare bones functional. Okay, I will do a couple more runs just so you guys can have a look and see. Maybe I'll get a good shot of it here. Oh yeah, gonna hold that. Ha! So another thing is, I've had a couple of people asking recently about the limit on farming. I think that there is a limitation that some people have said that there's a rumor about it. I've heard it quite a few times that there's a limit of 2,500 grelats on farming in a day in your house. So that means that theoretically you could farm outside your house. You could potentially, I don't know if this is true, but you could potentially farm in your guild house and your house 2,500. I don't know if that's how it works. There's a lot of questions there that I don't have the answers to necessarily, but yeah. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do to improve this just slightly, just ever so slightly, is switch this one over. I want to switch it because what I'm winding up with is that blue one is pointing up at the end of my turn there, and maybe it might be that I need to switch the directions on my colors. But yeah, you can optimize this quite a bit. There's a lot of different things that you can do to improve it, I'm sure. This is pretty efficient for me. I mean, you know, I'm playing on PC, so it's a little bit slow, but on mobile it's really fast. You can drop all your bombs in like 2 minutes. It's all gone. Okay, so right there, I got another bomb. And I'm using the base bombs too. You probably get better coverage with a larger one. Oh, and see what's happened? Yeah, so because I switched my color combination, it's actually gone wrong. Because my colors were, these are alternating, now it will work properly and I'll be able to switch it back and forth. Yep. Because I'd made them both on the same color. Both of those switches were showing on the same color, so it wasn't lining up and alternating. It just got stuck because I was dropping bombs and not having it hit a switch. So yeah, another thing that might function well here is if you figured out a combination with 6 possible end bomb points, possible explosives locations. And you can kind of shift it around too. Like if you're finding that you're kind of heavy on one side, like I'm noticing that my top left on my coverage is a little bit higher. If you're looking at it and you're seeing that it's getting a little bit more in one area or another, you can kind of tweak it around so it gets a little bit more even. Or even like move your spike floors so that you get a different location or like a different spread. Another thing that I've noticed is that sometimes your player will, like, especially when you're using the random spawn bomb, like the one that drops an extra little location of explosion, sometimes it will hit your character as well, and that can affect specifically the last explosion drop. So like when you're dropping the bomb at the very last point in your build, it can cause problems there where you will essentially not get to drop your last bomb because you took a hit along the way, and that will cause, specifically in this one, like this area here you can see is sparse. There's almost nothing here. There's no like coverage on the left hand side here at all, and just like 3 grelats have dropped in this location down here, maybe 4, and meanwhile over here it's almost completely full already. So that will cause it to not be even. The coverage will not reach this area as high. So, but like by the time that you get yellow over here, you might only have reds over here, right? That might be the way that goes. So something to consider again, but it's all about tweaking and optimizing and improving the build as you go along. This is just the base concept. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this has been helpful. I hope that yeah, you can build something like this. Show me in game. Let me know in the comments if you're getting some out of it or have any questions about using this kind of stuff. I really enjoy it, and I hope you do too. See you all next time.